Hello and welcome to the Home of the Ghost Owl, and here we are for another episode of our Warriors of Chaos faction focus, where we take a look at the Warriors of Chaos 8th edition army book to see how the units played and then how they might play in Warhammer The Old World. Now, overall, the Warriors of Chaos have a pretty large roster, and particularly in the special category. Like other factions, we have split this into two parts. So in this one, we're going to cover the first part of the special units of the faction. So without further ado, let's jump in and see what the first one is. So first up, we have the Hellstriders of Slaanesh. Still available on the Warhammer web store. You can see them there. Warriors of Chaos players pretty lucky in that nearly all their units still available to buy right now. You don't even have to wait for releases for the old world, though you will need to change the bases, of course. Stat-wise, they've got great movement. They've got good weapon skill, initiative, and leadership. Low wounds and attacks, however. Equipment-wise, they come with a spear and a shield. They may take Hell Scourges, which always strike first in the first round of combat. They can have full command characters, and they come in a unit size of 5+. Special rules, they've actually got quite a few, which is unusual for Warriors of Chaos roster so far. The Steed has armor piercing and demonic attacks, poisoned attacks, and fast cavalry. The Hell Reaver, which is the champion, can have the Eye of the Gods table. They cause fear. They have the Mark of Slaanesh, which means they are immune. They automatically pass, I should say, fear, terror, and panic tests. And they have the Soul Hunters, which is specific to the unit, which is they gain a bonus for the rest of the game for the number of units they destroy. So, if the Hellstriders destroy 1 unit, they gain Devastating Charge, 2 units, they gain Stubborn, and 3 units, they gain a 4+ ward save, which is really nice, but you're doing very, very well at that point, and probably a bit of a whitewash if your Hellstriders have killed 4 units by this point. But they're not a bad choice if you want a unit of fast light cavalry. However, many of the special rules only apply to the Steed, which is weapon skill 3, strength 3, and 1 attack. They're half the points of a Chaos Knight, and I'd rather have 5 Chaos Knights than 10 Hellstriders personally. Lack of durability, the 6+ save makes them vulnerable to shooting. And their lack of output limits the units you want to get in combat with. So for me, the Knights, while they're more expensive, they're just that much more flexible. Yes, this is fast cavalry. Yes, you can run them and do movement blocking and all that sort of stuff with them. But, you've got very cheap Chaos Warhounds to do that sort of thing. And these guys, their output just isn't that much for their points cost. So as I said, I would actually prefer the greater flexibility of Chaos Knights, who you can pretty much charge into most units and do pretty well with. Next up are the Chosen. Okay, you can see the reimagined Chosen at the bottom. Again, like the Chaos Warriors, I should say, look really, really good. I really like the Chaos Chosen. They've done a good job here. These are the original ones. You can see them ranked up here. Another option, though, you've got these ones here. From the Slaanesh Monogod faction in Age of Sigmar, the Head Knights of Slaanesh. There's no reason why you couldn't use these, for example, as a Chaos Chosen, but with a Slaanesh theme to them. So there are other options out there. Don't just initially go to the Chosen. You can do if you want Undivided, but maybe you want to go for a Slaanesh themed army. You do have options for that for Chosen that actually look really good. I actually do like a lot of the Head Knights of Slaanesh models. I think they've done a great job. Chosen-wise then, they've got high weapon skill, good strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, and leadership, low ballistic skill, not too much of an issue, and wounds. Equipment-wise, they come with a hand weapon and that chaos armor, which is great, and their unit size is 5+. They can have a full command set. Now, their Chosen champion gets Eye of the God special rule. On top of that, the unit gets the rewards of chaos, which basically means at the beginning of the game, you roll 3d6, and then you discard 1 dice of your choice on the Eye of the Gods table, which is great because essentially it's giving you more flexibility to pick the number, i.e. you don't want to make your champion spawn straight away. You might want to give your units toughness or strength or something like that. So it gives you more flexibility in what you're going to get, which is more reliable. So that's pretty nice. So you could end up giving a whole unit like +1 toughness. That's great. if you roll a spawn or a demon prince, however, the effect applies to the unit champion. So if you were lucky enough to roll and you wanted a demon prince suddenly instead of just your unit champion, well, that's pretty cool. You've now done that with this. And they also, that's and your champion still does get the benefits throughout the game of the normal Eye of the Gods rules. Overall, I always took a big unit of Chosen, as big a unit as I could afford, while taking the other options that I want initially. At 4 points per model more than an ordinary warrior, Chaos Warrior, you get +1 weapon skill. You go, wow, that seems like quite a lot. 4 points for +1 weapon skill. However, you've got the rolling of the Eye of the Gods table ability at the beginning of the game, which means you can tailor the option. I would also opt for halberds over great weapons. You get only +1 strength instead of +2, so you become strength 5. But not suffer the always strikes last. I'm not a huge fan of getting stuck with always strikes last. I think it does give you an impact on flexibility. It's not the worst thing for something like Chosen, who are heavily armoured and quite durable. However, I did like the halberd option. That +1 strength 5, a pretty good area to be in terms of strength, and actually you didn't then have that always strikes last penalty. So that would be my choice for our Chosen, who I think are absolutely fantastic. Chaos Knights then, so you can see here again, reimagined Chaos Knights look excellent. I say a lot of the Slaves to Darkness has had a good revamp. These are the old ones here, which are still pretty good looking models, I have to say, but you can still buy these on the web store today, the ones for Age of Sigmar. Stats wise, they got good movement, weapon skill, strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, leadership. So basically, yes, they are Chaos Warriors on heavily armoured mounts. Equipment wise, hand weapon, chaos armour, shield and barding, that's all included in their points cost, and they may take lances or ensorcelled weapons. Obviously the lance is +2 strength in the charge, ensorcelled weapon is +1 strength all the time and magical attacks, and they can take a mark for chaos on top of that. Unit size 5+. They can have full command characters, special rules. They got the Eye of the Gods, which is for the Doom Knight, which is the champion, and then they also cause fear. Look, in nearly every faction focus, I've been sat there going, cavalry, not the best in the meta. It's all about big blocks of infantry. Cavalry just can't break them, can't do enough. They're not durable enough, all that sort of thing. However, I actually like to take a unit of 5 Chaos Knights with ensorcelled weapons. That's 250 points. They're excellent durability. Their armor save with the Chaos armor, the shield, and the barding. And combine that with the Mark of Nurgle. You're -1 then to hit in close combat. Your strength 5 all the time and 2 attacks. That's for the knight. 5 knights can actually dish out pretty decent damage, but more importantly, could survive the attacks back. And that's been a lot of the issue on a lot of the other cavalry units, is not being durable enough to deal with that attack back, and then have the output. And then if you do get stuck in combat, and you've got lances, you've lost that additional strength. Whereas the ensorcelled weapons, that doesn't happen. So. Also with Chaos Warriors and Chosen being on the table, there are quite a lot of scary units out there. These core units, your opponents out there going, wow, I don't really want to get engaged by Chosen, or I don't want to get engaged by Chaos Warriors. So your knights aren't necessarily getting focused down from the beginning of the game. Whereas in other factions, you go, well, do I really care about Empire Halberdiers? I'm going after those Rights Guard. So there's a lot more threats, I would say, on the table in the Warriors of Chaos army, which means your knights aren't necessarily focused down that heavily. The one other thing is it's dangerous to let them run riot in the rear areas as well. They are a tough unit. They do dish out the attacks. They've got, good strength. They've got that good weapon skill. Archers and war machines, again, will be completely wrecked by them. So if these guys do get into the back lines, you can actually wrap up people's missile infantry pretty quickly. So a nice unit, and I always like to take a unit of these if I could. And then finally, for the part 1 of the special units, we've got the Chaos Ogres. Now, there weren't any Chaos Ogre models. They would have to be converted. Now, in Age of Sigmar, you've got these things which are Ogroid Therodons. Now, these pretty much to me look like a good option for Chaos Ogres, very chaotic with the horns, not to be confused with Minotaurs, and they say they do have the Ogroid name, which does suggest they're kind of like ogres. I think you could probably, with a bit of conversion, make these proper sort of chaosy ogres. If you or you take some of the ogres themselves from and convert them, but I think these are actually not a bad shout. So let me know if you think these are too Minotaur looking to be Chaos Ogres. I think they could actually be quite good. But there you go. Stats wise, good movement, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks, and leadership. Low weapon skill, however, ballistic skill and initiative. Equipment wise, hand weapon and heavy armor. And these guys do have the heavy armor on those miniatures, so that fits. And you can have them with additional hand weapon, great weapon, and a mark of chaos. Unit size of 3+, and they can have a full command. Special rules, they've got the Eye of the Gods for the Ogre Mutant only. They have Fear, and they also get Ogre Charge. They're not a terrible choice, but the weapon skill for a special unit is quite low. Strength and toughness is the same as a Chaos Warrior, and yet these guys are 33 points a model. I think they're just better choices in the roster, to be honest. My personal preference focusing on the large blocks of Chaos Warriors, Chosen, supported with characters and Chaos Knights, to be honest. So Chaos Ogres, I didn't run them, and I don't think they're the best option in an 8th edition. We'll see how they look in Warhammer The Old World, if they even are, because they don't exactly have what you could say this is definitely a Chaos Ogre miniature available now and didn't in the past. So we'll see if they actually make it to the roster. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the special part 1 episode. We are now going to be moving on to special part 2, so tune back in for that. Hope you've enjoyed this video, though. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. As always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It is totally free, and it means a huge deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we look at part 2 of the special category for Warriors of Chaos.